Okay, so location. So in this game, you may have noticed that there's not a map. There is no map that you can get to. You can hit M all day. You can hit Tab. None of that's going to open up a map for you, and that's actually a good thing in my opinion. We can discuss, having a map, not having a map all day long, but that's not what this is about. This is about how do you navigate Pantheon without a map, without an actual map in game to tell you kind of where you are, and that's going to be using your location. You can see here that my location is this right here. So how do we find out what your current location is? And then also, how do we use those locations to get to other places? So location is basically /LOC. I believe /L actually works. So let's see, /L, that does not, but /LOC does work. So that's going to give you your location. Or you can make a macro for it. If you don't know how to make a macro, they're right down here at the bottom. I have this macro that just says location, and it does a macro /LOC. You can hit the little plus key right here to create a new macro. Super easy peasy. You can remove that macro like that. And if this little menu is not up, you can go right up here to this button right here, up at the top of the screen. Click on that and it opens and closes your macro window so you can create macros. I highly recommend making a location macro. So once you have this, you're going to add location. Add a location macro, type /LOC in the macro, and every time you hit it, it's going to give you your current location in the world. And you can see here that it's giving us a bunch of numbers. And this is where it gets a little bit confusing. A lot of people don't understand how these numbers work. So I'm going to explain them real quick to you. This first number is your x-axis. So that's going to be your east and west axis. It's going to be basically what takes you east and west in the world. So if you did have an overlay map and you have north facing straight up, it is going to give you your position from left to right. Your next one is your z-axis. We're going to talk about that one in just a second because that's your elevation. Your third one is your y-axis. So it's going to give you your north to south location, right? So how far you are north and how far you are to the south. So now let's go back to elevation. So this middle one here is your z-axis. That's going to be your elevation. So if you have an x and y like this, it's going to give you your z, which basically is how high you are. So right now we are on this little plateau. But if we go up here on this bridge, we would have a higher z-axis. And if we would actually go over here and jump off of here, we would have a lower z-axis when we get down here into the water. That one you're not going to see as often. Most likely when somebody tells you, hey, this is my location, they're going to be giving you their X and their Y locations, because most of the time you can figure out where they are using X and Y. This final number here, you see that it is 0. This one, a lot of people are confused about, and it is your direction. So when you are facing perfectly due north, it's going to be at 0. If you turn slightly to the east and you hit location, you can see that that number goes up to 30. So we went 30 degrees to the north, right? 30 degrees, 30 from north to east. We went 30 degrees. If we turn perfectly to the east, it's going to be 90 degrees this way. So 89. You go perfectly to the south, it's going to be 180 approximately. You go perfectly to the west, you're going to be 270. And then back to north is going to be 0, or sometimes, 361, 0. That's basically where you're going to be, right? So right in that area. So that's going to be how you know where you're facing and which way you're going. So if you, let's say, right now we are at 3893 and 3204, and we want to go to, let's say, 38, or we want to go to 4,000, right? But we want to stay exactly at 3204. So we know that this is our east to west. We need to head east. So west is always going to be lower numbers. East is always going to be higher numbers. So we're going to turn east and we're going to start walking. So we have right now 3893. We can 3897, 99, and then keep going this way. And this will get us to eventually 4,000 if we continue to go in this direction. Notice that this y-axis, however, is not changing. So that is going to stay basically the exact same if we're going due east. So if we want to go this first number, we want it to be lower. You're just going to go to the west. So face directly west, and it will go lower. Okay, so that's basically how that works. If you want your y-axis, which is going to be the third number in this location, if you want it to go up, you're going to go north. So if we have it 3,200 right now, we would go north, and that number is going to go up slowly. And if we want it to go down, we're going to go straight south. So that's basically what you're looking at. So if you're on a grid, you know, like just a normal piece of graph paper, you always have your lower numbers are going to be your left and down. Your higher number is always going to be up and right. So let's say you're at this location of, 30, 39, and then 3,200, and you wanted to get to 4,000, and then let's say on the y-axis, let's see, let's say we go to the left over here. We want to go down on our x-axis, right, which is this one right here. So this is going to take us, let's say we want to get to 3,800, but we want to go to 3,300 on our y-axis. We are going to face northwest and start walking in that direction. And you can see how this is going down towards 3,800. And this is going up towards 3,300. So that would be the direction we would need to go. That is basically how your location works in this game. So anytime you want to navigate to some place, see what your current location is, and then figure out what the location you want to get to is, and then figure out which direction you need to head to make that happen. Hopefully that helps a lot of people out, because I know there's a lot of people that are confused on that topic.